Hey, YouTube fans, this is Rickus J again. Um, Talking about more of my life. I have to go back in a little bit when I was younger. Some things I forgot to talk about. Like, it seemed like every summer, either me or one of my siblings had to go to the hospital because we broke a bone or something. That's why when I was, I think, 10, I went out, didn't have no shoes on, went out in the back of the yard. And I'm coming back in. I step on something. It felt like a bee sting. Sorry, I'm eating candy. But I hop into the kitchen, pat, oh, through the patio door, and I flipped my foot over to see if the stinger was still in there, and my big toe just went bloop, and I could see the inside, the muscle, the fat, the bone. I had cut completely through it, and my toe was only hanging from the top part of the foot skin. So I'm trying to wake up my mother, and she's sound asleep on her medication. We couldn't get her awake. She was in that state. I went to the neighbor guy where my oldest brother was playing chess with. And I told him, I said, man, I got to go to the hospital. So he took me, and Gary, well, I didn't even say his name, but my oldest brother stayed back and tried to get my mother awake, which he finally did. And she met me at the hospital. I had to lay in a week for a hospital in the hospital with my leg elevated in a sling for a toe that's almost cut off, cast all the way up, even up over your femur. But that was one incident. Another incident, there's this park down south of Indiana, kind of southwest, um, called Turkey Run. And they had a swimming board, and I always loved to dive. I love to dive. And I was actually pretty good at doing cutaways, where you stand backwards on the board and you just jump towards the board. One day I did. I was trying to do a flip, and I hit the board with my legs and scraped up really bad. I mean, I had to lay in home on the couch for a week because I had internal bleeding and had to elevate my leg. Then another time, I'm at the park, and my brother, there was these old monkey bars swung from one to the other straight across, and there was two of them right next to each other, and they had sand down, but they had these 2x12s all the way keeping the sand in place. And my brother was jumping off one, catching the other one, swinging down to the ground. I decided to get this try myself. Well, like it happens in my life, didn't work. I flew up too far, I lost my grip, and I put my left arm behind my back to catch my fall, and I landed right on one of those boards, and it dislocated my wrist completely. I mean, my wrist, see if you can see it, was like this. I mean, up and back. I mean, I completely dislocated it. Told my mom we go to the hospital, and I had this chain around my wrist with no clasp. And the nurse had to get some tools, pliers, and a screwdriver to take it off. Well, I had to put it back on my right arm. So the weeks go by, and the day before before I was getting this cast off. I go to do a wheelie off of a guy's porch, and that didn't work. Went forehead over first, head first. I put my hand out to catch me. It was more like this, and when I came back up, I couldn't move my hand, and it hurt. I thought, oh my God, no, I didn't do nothing wrong, did I? So Mom took me to the hospital, and it broke completely across the palm. Well, funny thing is, guess what nurse was there? The one that took the chain off my left arm and put it on my right. And now she's got to take it off the right. And she's like, it seems that we've done this before. It was kind of funny. But I didn't put it. But the next day I go into the clinic to get my cast off. I got a cast on one and I got a soft cast on the other. So when I go in, I got that on, and when I come out, I got a cast on my right arm and none on my left. That was crazy. Hang on a second, please. Oh, but there was another time when I was about 8. Me and this boy were playing tag, chasing each other. He goes up this big evergreen tree, climbing inside of it. So I follow him. He comes back, and there's an opening in between the tree and the house it's by. Well, he goes through it, and I go through it coming out of the tree. And he gets up, raises up his head. So I did too. I'll be doggone if I didn't hit my head on one of them wooden flower pots that are outside the windows. I thought, man, I'm hurt. I gotta go home. So I walk home. That white T-shirt on. 2 blocks away from home. By the time I got home, just right under my armpits, the shirt was totally red and black in the back and front. My mom sees me. She throws me down on the couch, tells my brother to get a towel. He went and got it and called an ambulance and go to the emergency room. And all they did is stitch it up, 19 stitches. There's one lady in there. I mean, that young, she's like, boy, he was such a good boy to take that. And she ended up giving me $50 at the age of 13. That's back in 77. $50 was a lot of money for a 10-year-old back then. But then when I was 17, I had my appendix taken out. What other accidents did I have when I was young? Well, I think that's about it. There's probably a couple other incidents I don't remember. Now my story's going to start getting into my 20s. When I was 20 years old, I thought, time for me to move out of Mom's and go find my own life. One day in the summer, late summer, there's me and 3 other guys. We were partying. We were in my car. And one guy just says, hey, man, let's go to Florida. And we're all messed up. I thought, well, heck yeah, let's go. So we're going to Florida from Indiana with a half a tank and $20 in my pocket in 84. Now, if you give us more gas, that gas only lasted so long. And then I had to put a couple quarts of oil in my car too, because it consumed the oil. But we only made it to Tennessee And I pulled over and I said, guys, this is as far as we're going. And the one guy sitting that said, let's go to Florida, he gets out and says, man, I'm hitchhiking. Anybody want to go with me? I said, well, heck yeah, I come this far. I'm going all the way. No doubt about it. So the other two wanted to go back to Lafayette. So I gave them the keys to the car and they took off. So me and this other guy, we start hitchhiking down towards Florida. And we got some crazy rides. I mean, a couple people, they actually took us to their home and fed us. There was another time that got a ride from the truck, and I was back in the truck and fell asleep. And I mean, I was so tired because one night we had to sleep under a bridge, and I thought, man, we're not in a secluded place, and somebody can just come along and do as their will. And I couldn't sleep at all that night. But when we get to Chattanooga, Tennessee, we meet this one guy who's going to Florida. This beautiful white with lightning bolt paint job. I think it was a 1977 Nova. Yeah, beautiful car, 2-door. We actually had problems. One on the way, fuel line busted off, and he had to replace it with a clamp. They put a clamp on it. So we make it close to Fort Myers, where the guy I'm with, his brother's down there. So we get to the apartment where he's at, and his brother's like, man, you guys shouldn't have come down. I'm going back home tomorrow in Lafayette. And the guy I'm with, he calls his family and they give him the money. And this is the first time I've ever been out of the state, way far away like this, and by myself. And I couldn't get the money to go back home. So here I am stuck in Florida trying to find a way to save up money or whatever and get back home. First couple nights, I slept in the abandoned apartment that my friend's brother had. I go there real late at night and get up real early. Then I made this one boy on the same street and stay to his house a couple times with his parents' permission. And we would go to the pizzeria and make dough for him and stuff like that. And he'd give us free pizza, free video games. Uh, yeah, back then they did have a video game, the kind that you sit up to and it's flat, and the screen is actually facing up towards the ceiling. But I figured, I gotta do something. I can't stay with him for the rest of my time down here. So I just took off. I heard that there was a temporary uh, temp service, uh, job temp service downtown. So I get down there, and I guess there's no more jobs for the day. And one guy said he was going to Tampa. He said there's a lot of jobs up there. I asked him, I said, well, can I go with you? I didn't even know him. He said, sure. And there was 2 other guys with us. So we go up to Tampa, and we get up there when it's really dark, almost midnight. And we park in this parking lot, empty parking lot. And I get in the back, because it was kind of like a short station wagon. I get in the back, and I'm sound asleep. I really am. And the next thing I knew, I wake up. There's a helicopter hovering above us. And then these 5 police cars just come and surround the car we were in. And it was all get out. I guess what it was there was a warehouse right there by we were parked, and one of the guys with us tried to break into it like a dumbass. But they let us all go. They really didn't do much. So we did ask them where's a place we could go to stay the night to where we could be close to temp services, and they showed us a place downtown where all the homeless people slept. But the next morning we went out, and There's actually vans coming around asking the homeless if they want to work. I mean, there's so much work in Tampa back here. But I found a temp service, and the first job I done was called mugging. I do believe that's what it was called. But what it is, the ships have been out to sea a long time, or in the Gulf. They had to come in and raise them out of the water on a dry dock, and you have to get under and scrape all the shellfish off of it. It is one nasty job, man. I mean, it is nasty. And in some areas under the boat, you only might have 2.5, 3 feet clearance. I mean, you have to get almost in the belly to get it. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then another time I did a ironwork job, hanging steel. And then I got a job with this old man sharpening knives for restaurants. And I've only done it one day because I had to walk back home. I could get it right there, but I had to walk back home. And it was like, I'm telling you, man, like 30 to 35 blocks. It might have been closer to 40, actually. All I knew, it was a long way. But I, as I was walking down, I barely seen anybody on the streets or nothing, which I thought was kind of odd. But when I get downtown, I tell the people where I was working. They said, "Man, you are lucky, one lucky son of a bitch." He said, "That's the worst part of town you can walk down through." I imagine there was gangs and stuff watching me. I freaked out. I didn't go back there again. Then I got another job setting up tables at conferences or at conventions, and they put me in charge of the temp people to set up the tables. And we got it all done and right, like the diagram said. And this was 3 days in a row. So I decided I'm gonna take a couple of days off. So I take a couple of days off and I go back to the same temp service. And the guy that gives up the job says, "Man, where have you been?" I just took a couple of days off. He says, "Yeah, but that company that you did the table setup for, they wanted to hire you full time." I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Damn! But I lost the opportunity. But I started going around meeting new people. There was this one street, a lot of homeless people live, and I stayed there a few days. Actually, I was talking with this one guy, and he was coming out like he was gay. I'm like, damn, man, like, is this, am I a gay magnet or something? This is pathetic. I'm getting sick. And he said, "Man, I really appreciate it if you wouldn't tell me that." I said, "No problem." I get out on the street. They're like, "Man, guys, you need to stay away from this, dude." Gay. And I didn't give a doggone it. Be like me or not after I said that. I'm going to let people know. That way, if you're not gay, you're not going to stay overnight with it. And if you are gay, then go for it. All you freaking want. I can't see about anybody want to have a dick stuck up their ass. But yeah, that's just plain pathetic. But in my 20s is when I started learning how to sing. And I believe everybody in life has a purpose. And I'm very observant. So I seen the signs from God that He placed upon me. And it's not like He puts it in your lap. I mean, and He wants you to be part of the work too. which a lot of times they just, I forget what I was saying. I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of tired, but I think I'll start another one tomorrow because I have plenty more to talk about. Oh, in through my 20s is when I started learning how to sing, and I seen the signs that God gave us. But we have to make an initiative to look for those signs. I mean, if God opens a door behind you, how can you see it unless you turn around? And if you're sitting in a house with the curtains closed and everything, how can you see the beautiful sun and the signs from God outside when people talk to you, music, whatever? How can you see them signs unless you open the windows and go outside? I mean, you got to make it initiative uh, action yourself. I mean, you just can't wait for it to fall in your lap. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I have always been very observant, and I've seen the signs. But I think that'll be it for now, you guys. And I'll hopefully the next couple days put another one up. Sorry for this one being so much later than my last one because I was playing with my videos. But new one to be out in a couple days.